Anyone who knows me knows I do not play about the people I am closest to. That is especially true about family members. So I'm going to give you the scenery. My brother comes home one day and he's very upset. I'm like, okay. And my mom is like, you should talk to him. I speak to my little brother and he tells me about a new little girl in his class who's being mean to him. And I feel like the responsible big sister thing to do is to ask him if he spoke to the teacher. So that's what I do. I'm like, G, did you talk to the teacher about this? And he's like, yeah, I talked to the teacher. She moved the girl and then moved the girl right back next to me. What sense does that make? So I asked my little brother, G, what do you mean by she's being mean to you? He's like, oh, she's calling me fat. She's calling me out my name. She keeps hitting me. Side note, if my brother was not raised correctly, that little girl would have been all kinds of beat up by him and his little hood rat friends. But he was raised correctly. So I say to him, the next time she hits you, hit her back. Like, you know, like I'm his mother, like I'm supposed to be giving him this bad advice. But I give him this bad advice knowing he's not going to do it. I'm just trying to give him some kind of, you know, something that he can actually use, because apparently telling the teacher is not working. So the next day he comes home and he tells me that the little girl stabbed him in the hand with a pencil. Stabbed him in the hand with a pencil.
Stabbed him in the hand with a pencil.
Oh, hell no!
When I tell you all the blood rushed to the center of my face, I could feel the heat. Just the heat was all over me. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to grab this little girl by the neck and just. So he tells me the little girl stabbed him in the hand with a pencil. And I say, Gee, did you tell your teacher? He said, yes, I told her. And she called mommy. She moved the girl, but nothing happened. So I go to my mother. I said, did the teacher call you about the little girl stabbing Gianni in the hand? And she's like, yes. What are we gonna do about it? It was music to my ears. It was music to my ears. Like I said before, or I'm not sure if I said before, my brother and I are 5 years apart. So he was in the first and I had just graduated and gone to the sixth. So technically I wasn't even at the same school anymore. But my mother and I devised this plan where I was going to go ahead and step to this little girl, because I mean, first of all, you was calling him out his name. Then you want to put your hands on him, and now you using weapons. You gonna really stab my brother like that? That's what we gonna do? That's what we doing now? So the next day, my brother, mother, and I show up bright and early to the school. My mom, of course, stays outside because, I mean, she needed to stay outside. And I go in with my little brother. Everybody there knows me. So they're just, hey, they're so happy to see me, not knowing that I'm about to go and put hands on this little girl. We knew that she'd be there because she was always there bright and early to get breakfast. So I say, G,
Point her out.
he says, Monique, that girl over there. And I'm looking around like, which little girl? Which little girl? I stop on the girl I think would have the name Nene. My little brother walks over to the section where his class normally sits and waits for the teacher to come. And I go over to little Nene. I tap her on the shoulder. I say, excuse me, do you know Gianni? And she turns around with the most little innocent, she was a little rough looking, a little innocent, rough looking face. And she said,
No.
she proceeds to start crying. I promise that took all the thug I had in me right on out my heart. I was like, oh my God, I can't even jack this little girl up. I can't even put her in a place. She's crying. I'm thinking to myself, this might all be an act. She might be literally the devil's spawn. But you can't thug up on a little girl who is crying, especially because there are people around watching and she's making the scene and I can't go down like this. I ain't trying to get arrested. I gotta go to school. Anyway, I don't think I told you guys the plan. The plan was for me to go out to that school, jack this little girl up, tell her if she ever touched my little brother again, there was gonna be problems, and then I was supposed to just walk away all bossed up, and if she got a little slick, then I was gonna, you know, flick her a couple times. I wasn't gonna actually punch her, just flick her, maybe pick a little pitch. In the midst of her crying and making a scene, she was telling me that she doesn't know Gianni, she doesn't know the teacher, she doesn't know the classroom, she don't own any pencils. What? At this point, I have turned into the biggest marshmallow. I legitimately want to give her a hug and tell her it's okay if you don't know Gianni. If you know the girl who did stab him with that pencil, let her know I'm looking for her. Let her know she gonna get these hands. No, but in all seriousness, after all of that, all I said to the little girl was like, hey, my little brother said you were the girl who stabbed him in the hand with the pencil. Don't let it happen again, because I don't want to have this conversation with you again. We don't want to get your parents involved. We don't want to get you in trouble with the teacher. Just please keep your hands and your words and your pencils and your weapons and your everything away from my little brother, okay? We care a lot about him, and we don't want anything bad to happen to him. And we don't want him to put his hands on you. And she said, okay. And that was it. So when Gianni gets home that day, I said, so what happened with Nene? Did she say anything to you? Did she touch you? I had a talk with her. He was like, no, I don't even remember if I saw her today.
Nigga!
I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't know if you saw her? I had a whole conversation with her while she was eating breakfast and crying and making a scene to make sure that she does not put her hands or any other articles upon your body and inflict any kind of pain upon your body. What you mean you ain't see her? He's like, I don't remember seeing her. The teacher moved her away from me last class and then moved her back, but maybe she moved again, and I don't know, maybe she's in another class. Maybe she left early. I'm like, you're giving me a lot of maybes. I went over there to that little girl with the 2 ponytails, the white shirt, and the blue skirt, okay? And I talked to her as she cried and made a scene to make sure that you be all right, and you don't even know whether she was in your class or not. You're the one who pointed her out to me. Was I talking to the right little girl? Was that even did you just look over there and point and just tell me to go over there so I could just be done with you and you can go where you needed to go? I kid you not. This boy said to me, I just don't remember seeing her today.
Nigga!
Oh, Jesus, I promise I wanted to get a pencil and stab him in the head. What you mean you don't know if that was her? What you mean you don't know whether you saw her today? I went up to somebody. I threatened somebody's kid. Well, I didn't really threaten them, but I read some little girl her rights in a nice way and told her not to mess with you. And she might have not actually even known you like she said. What? To this day, I kid you not, I do not know if I approached the right little girl. All I know is that my brother was not messed with from that date forward. So I'm hoping that I did, but there's actually no way for me to be sure. The little girl actually switched schools, so I couldn't even see her in that in the group picture they take at the end of the year. I'm like, well, I know that the little girl that I spoke to that morning was not in that picture either, so I'm hoping that was her. So the moral to this story is, don't mess with anybody I'm close to, because I will boss up on you. You will have problems. Even if I come to you in the most polite way, there will be problems. And 2, maybe if you're trying to rectify a situation on behalf of someone else, maybe make sure you're talking to the right person. But that concludes whatever this was. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and or subscribe. And if you didn't and still managed to watch this whole thing, one time for you anyway. I will talk to you guys later.